The Flipper Blackhat is a 100% open source Linux enabled add-on board I developed for the Flipper Zero. It's used for pen testing and ethical hacking. Welcome to the Flipper Blackhat getting started tutorial. I had some people request this, so I'm going to put together a video. The very first section we want to go to is Flipper Blackhat GitHub. That is incorrect. I'll put the link in the description below. But you want to go to the main one, Flipper Blackhat, and then check out the wiki. And then make sure things are recording properly so I don't screw that up. The first thing we're going to do is set up our SD card. So to do this, we're going to go under the Flipper Blackhat OS section to the continuous build. We're going to go to the most recent build at the top, and we're going to download the artifacts for that nightly build. So if I go into downloads, I've already downloaded it, and I'm just going to unzip this push.zip. When I get this, I'm going to get this SD card.image. I'm going to insert my SD card into my computer, and I'm going to do dd command, something like this. If you're on Windows, you're going to want to download an application called Win32 Disk Imager. Just Google around. You just need to flash that image to the SD card. And when I say that, I don't mean just copy the file. It needs to do an actual block write. So if you search Raspberry Pi flash image to SD card, you'll get a tutorial on how to do that, and that will tell you how to do it. I've already done this, so I'm not going to execute this command. Something to notice is if I do an lsblk, we're going to have a 64 megabyte FAT32 partition in the first spot. So on a Windows machine, you will also see that. So when after you flash your SD card, take it out, put it back into your Windows computer or Mac OS or whatever, and it should mount a FAT32 disk. If you're not mounting a FAT32 disk, you're doing something wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this disk. In Linux, everything's done manually, so I'm going to put that on the mount, and we're going to take a look at these files because I'll move the screen over here. These are very important for setup of the device. So one script that's important is blackhat.conf. So inside here, if you open this up in a text editor, we'll see SSID. So this is the SSID that you want to connect to. Password, I'm going to blur that out. That's the password I've already set up for that SSID. APSSID is the access point name that will show up for Evil Portal and stuff like that, and the IP is the IP of the SSID. I wouldn't go changing around too many things when you first start out. Just do it, launch it, and then try to get it working. And then if you go back, obviously set the password here and make sure you leave these little single ticks in there. You obviously want to update that for your local Wi-Fi. Then there's some log files. We'll get to the Evil Portal logs. Index.html is the HTML file that's put up for the Evil Portal, so you can go ahead and replace that. This readme.txt is not important. This scripts folder contains a whole bunch of scripts that you'll be able to run from the app. We're going to get into that later. So you see data loader, data thief, hello pi, portscan.py. Okay, so I'm going to unmount the drive, and I'm going to insert this into the Flipper Blackhat. And before I do anything, I'm going to set up the Flipper for USB serial mode. So I'm going to go to, first of all, I'm going to plug in USB to my PC. And I'm going to go into the GPIO app, USB UART bridge, baud rate. I'm going to set this to 115200. And then I'm going to go back. Now over to my PC. I should have a TTY ACM device. So I'm going to open that in screen, TTY ACM 000. Again, if you're on Windows, you're going to want to download an application called Putty. This is an open source application for, I'm going to go in here. So this is an open source application for opening serial ports to devices. Let's try to make this bigger. Yeah, you're going to go, I don't know, to the serial port section, probably terminal or something. Oh no, probably hit this connection type serial, and then you're going to select your COM port. So it's going to be either like COM0 or COM1 or something. I'm on Linux, so I'm just going to use the screen command dev TTY ACM 0, and then don't forget to set your baud rate. That's very important. It's 115200. So I've opened up the port here. My SD card is inserted into the Blackhat. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. And we're going to get a Linux shell here, and I will focus this a bit better so you can see everything. If you successfully get the green light on, that means that everything's come up fine and you've booted. So something very, very important. You need a... this is very important. So if you've gotten to this point, great. If you haven't gotten to this point, 99.9% chance that you used a shitty SD card. Please do not use something that you just pull out of a digital camera from 10 years ago. This is like a very high speed system and requires a proper card for it to boot. So I see several people have had issues with it, and the number one issue is they're using some old SD card. What you need is UHS Speed Class 3 with the little U under it. And you'll see that printed on the SD card. So I've had good luck with SanDisk Extreme SD cards. So these ones here, you only need a 16 gigabyte. So here's like a 64. Here's whatever. This will run you like, I don't know. Here's $8. And you see that little 3 with the U on it. That's what you need. I've also had success with this SD Ultra. So this is actually class 10. So if we go back to this card class thing, you can see this is one lower. But I've seen people using these. Anyways, it was a Lexar, but it was class 10, and that did not work. So if you're having issues, it's probably the SD card. And the reason why I tell people to start with the serial app is, and rather than going straight to the Flipper Blackhat app, is because if you start with a shit SD card, you'll get some print on the screen and then it will crash. Like you'll have an MMC error or something like this. So if you have that, it's the SD card. I don't want to go over it anymore, but basically you just need a good SD card. Moving on. So we have a shell right now. So this is like fully in the, oops, I don't know why I showed you that. The Linux system. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If I do ls mount, this is the FAT32 partition. So when the system boots, it's going to grab the FAT32 partition from the beginning of the disk and put this at mount. So then you have all your files that you can access from Linux or Windows, or whatever. Yeah, so another important thing that it will go over before we jump into the app is the Blackhat command. So this command is driven typically driven by the Flipper Blackhat app that runs on the Flipper. But you can also drive it from the command line here. Yeah, so I'm going to do Blackhat Wi-Fi connect. This is going to go ahead and connect to my Wi-Fi. So yeah, I can check like IP address. Yeah, that'll take a couple seconds to get a proper IP address. So 192.168.158. I can now ping google.com. Yeah, okay, so that's working. Now this is the point where you can now transition to using the app because you know the system's coming up fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the Flipper app, continuous builds, this build here, and I'm gonna go ahead and download that again. So this is the app that's gonna run on the Flipper itself. For those of you that use Momentum firmware, eventually, if you're using the dev build, you should find the Flipper Blackhat already in there, because I merged that into the build, the Momentum firmware. And if you're not using it, right now I'm only really supporting Momentum firmware, so you're welcome to try it on another firmware, but it might not work. But yeah, and if you're using the stable Momentum, you're gonna have to put it on using QFlipper. So you download the file, you end up with push.zip. I'm gonna unzip this. What the hell? Replace. Okay. Download this. You end up with push.zip. Unzip this. You end up with blackhat.fap. I'm gonna go into the QFlipper app, which you can find on the, I don't know where you get this, just search QFlipper. SD card, and you want to go into apps, GPIO, right click, upload file, blackhat.fap, and now that app is going to be on your Flipper. So now we can run it. So let's focus this properly so you can see it. We're going to back out of this and we're going to go into the apps folder, GPIO, Flipper Blackhat. So if you go to shell, who am I? So that's like a Linux command, and you are root, so it returns root. Okay, I'm trying to think of the best thing to go here. So I'll just go through all the commands and just overview what they are and what they do. So shell issues the who am I command. This is good for making sure you're up and running. Scan for scripts. This is going to go ahead and scan in that scripts folder in the FAT32 partition, and then you can actually run these scripts. Data loader is if you stick an SD card, or sorry, not an SD card, a USB thumb drive into one of the USB-A ports here, you can run the data loader, and that will load files from the FAT32 partition onto that USB drive. So that's good for red teaming and things like that. Data thief is going to do the opposite. It's going to steal the files from the USB drive and put them on the SD card. Hello.py just says hello world. And then the last port scan, what that's going to do is it's going to continuously scan for Wi-Fi access points. If it finds an open one, it's going to connect to it, and then it's going to do a port scan on all of the devices on that network, and then save all the open ports to a file with any other interesting information. So it's kind of like a war driving-ish type functionality. Yeah, we're going to go back. Connect Wi-Fi. That's going to connect to Wi-Fi. Set iNet SSID, that's going to set the internet SSID that you want to connect to, like the router. Set iNet password, that's going to set the password. Set AP SSID, that's going to set the SSID of the AP that you're hosting. List networks, I think that's broken right now, but that should list Wi-Fi networks. Wi-Fi device info. So this is basically just listing your devices. WLAN 0 is a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi NIC. What WLAN 1 is 2.4/5. This is WLAN 1, the USB. Enable AP is going to enable an access point. Start Kismet, so this starts Kismet, which is an application for scanning for Wi-Fi access points and clients in the area. I think I maybe have to make a separate video about that. Get IP is going to get your IP address. So WLAN 0, this is the IP address I'm connected to. Enable SSH is going to enable SSH. So I'm actually going to do that right now. So this is now back to the PC. I should be able to SSH root at 192.168.1.158. Password is Blackhat. Be sure to change your password. And this is just another way to work with the Blackhat. Start evil twin, we'll start an evil twin. Start evil portal, we'll start an evil portal. You can, let me focus this again. You can test internet by pinging, so this is like just pinging. Get parameters is gonna just print out your blackhat.conf file. That's the one I was editing earlier. Reboot is gonna reboot the system. So one thing I wanted to demo really quickly is the evil portal. So there's two things you need to do. You first need to connect to Wi-Fi, and the second thing is to enable AP. So I'm going to go ahead and enable the AP. So this should say at the end, once it's enabled, AP-enabled. I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to start evil portal. It's worth mentioning that the USB obviously doesn't have to be plugged in. I hope that's obvious, but okay. And then, so evil portal is running. I'm going to check internet here. So I'm going to have a Flipper Wi-Fi access point. This is going to then redirect me. I'm going to have the little pop-up thing. Username, password. Enter some junk here. And then this is actually going to go ahead and redirect me to the internet where I can search SanDisk Extreme. And that's the SD card that works, everybody. And then of course, so on here, this has printed out somewhere. Yeah, so there's my post username. Yeah, username is what I entered, the password is what I entered, and that is actually going to save that to a file. So I'm gonna go ahead. So there's a few ways to access the file. I still have SSH access here, so I can cat mount it's called eplogs.txt, and so this is the username password that I entered. And as I said before, the logs this folder here, mount, is the FAT32 partition that's at the beginning of the SD card. So I could just take this SD card out, put it into my PC, and I'll have access to all of those files. Yeah, so I think I speed ran that. How far am I? OBS, do you tell me how long? 20 minutes. Okay, so that wasn't too fast. So that was the getting set up, getting the app set up. running something. Now I'm going to get into the more technical part of the video, and I'm just going to keep going until I don't know, I might as well just start explaining some stuff. So Flipper Blackhat, so the OS, this is the OS stuff. So so this is how you want to clone the OS repository, and then you want to update the git submodules, cd into the build root. This is the command to build the OS, and then finally issue the make command to build it. So yeah, cd build root, readme. I'm just trying to think of how technical I want to get here. So build root has a, oh, okay. My display is too small because I made the text big for you guys. It is still too small. Okay, so this is, if you type make menu config, you can get into the config of how to build the OS, kernel, bootloader, everything. So target packages. This has like tons of different packages, whatever you want. Yeah, as you see, I already have Python 3 enabled. You can add Ruby, TCL, whatever. I'm not gonna go through everything in here. Kernel changes the kernel. So right now I'm on custom git repository, custom version. Yeah, so quite a new kernel, so 6.14. The reason for that was there was a bunch of RTW88 patches for the Realtek modules. Yeah, so I'll go back into the package area. So there's a folder called packages. And inside here are all the packages that I'm importing into, oh, I forgot to talk about router exploit. Okay, that's a different video. I feel like there's so much crap you can do this thing. So the Blackhat script, the data, or the source code is here. It's just a bash script. Yeah. I mean, it's bash script. Evil Portal Python script. This is the backend that receives the the JavaScript post request. Yeah, this is the Blackhat configuration. This is more Python stuff. So if you want like a certain Python package, you could either put it in yourself and pull requests into the repository, or tell me what you want and I can put it in. This is stuff for the screen that have been having a hard time working on lately. rootfs overlay. This is, once it builds the image, it plops this on the root file system. So there's various little, like here's the Evil Portal index. Yeah.